Hello, everyone, and welcome to Twillow Talk. I'm Janice Coughlin from Twillow Lifestyle Community, Twillow Lifestyle Academy, and I am a Reiki Master, Celtic Shamanic High Priestess, Crystal Master. I don't know. I do stuff. I'm a channel and an oracle, and I am joined today by my beautiful co-host, Jennifer Jurkofsky. Hey, Jen.
Hey.
You want to tell people what you do?
Sure. I am a registered therapist, a certified Canadian counselor, an intuitive life coach, energy worker, and all kinds of stuff.
Awesome. So it's a day today. We're both oh my goodness, I'm exhausted.
It's interesting.
It's a day.
It's interesting, I gotta say. A little not here, and that's okay. But there's a lot going on, and there's a lot going on collectively. Just kind of noticing. It's interesting. So we were talking a little bit earlier. Obviously we talk about the transits and stuff like that, and right now we're in the middle of the gate 53, this idea of immaturity to expansion to superabundance, and really it's like starting something again, right? It's this, in the beginning, like that kind of energy that comes up for that, and it's such an important piece to notice for a lot of reasons, and we can get into that when fully talk about the transits. But what I'm feeling is like there's this kind of pressure to start something new, right? And so even just having a lot of people reaching out going, you know what, like I'm ready to do something different. I'm ready to understand more. I'm ready to make a change. I'm ready, I'm just ready for something needs to happen. Right. And so looking at,
that's part of why we designed
last week,
that,
right? Pushing us to make that. And now we're all like, yes, okay, expansion, let's do this.
And then we're like, I don't know what to do. Yeah. And that's part of why we designed the Know Thyself seminar, right?
Yeah,
it's because we wanted to help people to move forward in that. And so I'm looking forward to sharing that near the end of the month.
Yeah.
Which is actually only 2 weeks away now.
It's coming really soon.
Yeah.
We got some highs.
Do our final.
And hello.
Yes, we should say hello. Hello, Fogo Pogo.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us. And we have Gerald from Tarot Stash. Hi. Check out his channel, folks, if you haven't already. And we have hello, Maruda. Hello. Thank you for joining us. And Annie. Hey, Annie.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us. Coming on. So good to see you all here. It's always nice to have you guys come and share your energy with us and any questions and such that you might have. It's awesome. And comments, of course. And we have a Facebook user. Let's just check that out. So we have somebody. So when people are in the groups, we don't always get who they are. So we have Rhonda. Hi, Rhonda. How are you? Nice to have you join us. That's awesome. So we've got some lovely people on. And so the energies are really crazy. It's like this energy of transformation and change. And it's a shifting kind of thing. Like it's and like you said, like it's provoking. That's what we talked about last week with the transits, that it's provoking. So what are the transits looking like this week, Jen?
Yeah, so we're actually kind of smack dab in the middle of one that started on the 7th and goes until the 12th. And it's, one of the things that, they talk about, both Ra and Richard, is it's this beginning energy, right? But, I love that Richard Rudd, who does the Gene Keys, for those who don't know who I'm referring to. It's this energy of, begin as you mean to go on. Right? Like really understanding before we move into something, like what is the essence of the beginning of this? Like what is its purpose? What is it going to be bringing forward? Right? And it's an important piece, right? Because we talk about this all the time, the idea of like intention and intentionality, right? And how do we set intentions for things? And so the energy that we put into things really impacts how they move forward, right? And so, one of the things that Richard uses as an example in his Gene Keys book is this idea of how, a lot of times when we start things, there's this element of fear. It's new, it's something different, right? And we really want to be careful that we don't bring that into the process.
Right.
And so, taking that moment, that mindful moment of kind of like, what's going on for me, right? Oh, there it is again. It's been happening all day. Sorry, guys.
Would you like
keep
to
getting.
explain what that is? Because maybe there's other people experiencing it, right? And because I've had this as well. So this is something that Jen's had all day. So there's a lot of downloads coming down.
All day today, guys, where basically everything goes kind of, I want to say mute, but it's not really mute, but it's like all the background noise that you pick up on a regular basis, it just clears, it's gone. And then there's this like gentle hum, kind of a, and you just got to ride it out because something's coming in and it's all good.
Yeah.
But okay.
So these are downloads, guys. This is energetic downloads that she's getting. And so I've had them too. And I'm sure that you guys have probably experienced them as well. And it's a lot right now. We're getting a lot of that right now. So Jen's getting a lot of hers today.
Right now. And it's happening regularly. Like I get them, here and there and all this kind of stuff. But today it's just been one after another. I'm like, whew, okay, am I getting like tinnitus or something? But no, it's just what it is.
It's just downloads. Okay. Yeah.
It's just
downloads.
Yeah. But again, so kind of going back to the transit piece, right? Really, being intentional about understanding the energy that we're bringing to an experience, right? The 53 in the shadow side of things, that immaturity, we're looking at like this kind of solemn repression, right? Like I just don't want to do it. I don't want to put my energy out there, or becoming overly fickle, right? I'm going to do this. No, I want to do that. No, maybe I'll do that. No, I think I want to do this. Wait a minute.
Isn't that my design though? That was my design, my human design, to be kind of fickle.
Well, manifesting generators specifically, there is a component of that, right? Because you have to try something before you really know if you want to put your energy to it or not.
Exactly.
So yeah. But the really neat thing about this gate is that the gift of it is expansion. Right? So when we notice what's happening within us, when we allow ourselves to move past that resistance, the fear, the fickleness, whatever's showing up, right? And hold space for growth, it's there, right? And we have the ability to kind of step into that expansion and to, one of the things he talks about, because it moves into superabundance, right? So one of the things that, we talk about with this is complexity theory, which we're not going to get into. I'm not going to geek out on that too much. But the idea here is that as systems grow, I know, I love it. Anyway, the idea behind it though is that as things progress, they get more complex. Right? And so now how do we combine this kind of complexity theory with simplicity, right? And understanding that really this is about simplicity, and yet we want to be continually growing in complexity, right? I love to use math as an example because I love math, but I know that not everybody loves math. So I know it's not a great example for everybody.
Pogo says geek out.
Please geek out. Awesome. Okay. So you walk into a class of kindergartners, right? Just learning their numbers. And you're showing them, 3, yeah, good job. 7, woohoo, you got it, right? And then you put trigonometry on the board and they go, it doesn't work, right? The only way that we can get from kindergarten learning your numbers to trigonometry is by going through all the bits and pieces in between and expanding our own understanding and growing, so that each step along the way, it's not complex. It's like, okay, I got this bottom step. I understand it, and then I move on to the next one, right? So you're never going to go up to trigonometry if you don't get algebra and geometry and all the other kind of stuff in between. This is why I say math's not a great example, because I know people hate math. But same thing with like letters, right?
Yeah.
Some kindergartners are learning their letters. You're not going to expect them to read novels or write novels, right? You really
building blocks. It's the concept
it's
of
about
building blocks.
And so it's about expanding as we grow. Right? And so, you know, being able to not jump too far ahead and not try to take on too much, but also make room for the next step. Right? And begin to build that. And that's the energy that we're in right now.
Yeah.
Right? So this ability to kind of open up to new experiences, to really working on ourselves, to trying to figure out, you know, what's next, in order to continue that expansion. And that, you know, we talk about like transcendence, right? And this, you know, growth mindset and all of these things that people talk about. And that's the energy that we have right now to be able to really step into that.
Yeah. Annie says, great way to explain. I want to do it all now. Step by step. Now I have that song in my head.
Yeah. Yeah. And we have to do it step by step. We really do. You know, if we want to really grow, right? And grow in a way that's sustainable. That's the biggest piece, right? Yeah. Then we need to build those blocks. Mm-hmm.
Definitely. And that's definitely like where we're at. I know, I don't know if you guys watch Lee Harris. He's a channel. And I know that was definitely a big theme for him this month, was this energy of change and, you know, revolutionary kind of energies, and but also, you know, being like tender and vulnerable and feeling through how these things are coming in, and, you know, the idea of like fast manifestation, because we're raising our vibration. So the more we raise our vibration, the faster things are going to manifest for us, right? So we have to really be aware of how we're thinking about things, you know, in order to bring in what we want and not what we don't as well, right? So it's it's quite an interesting time, really, to be here on Earth. And it's here on Earth. My alien blood is showing, sorry.
There are days though where that like so comes into play. I remember like when we met up with a friend of ours as well when he was in town, and it was like, it's so hard to be human out in the world today. I'm sorry. I just like, I'm not humaning well today.
Exactly.
Okay.
Speaking of human, I'm going to introduce people to a little friend of mine that I got. Look at this. It's a crystal. It's blue opalite. And it's a little alien head. He looks like my Pleiadian guide.
Just on a much smaller scale.
Yes. But size is relative, right? They're not in the 3D, so.
No, it's perfect. I love it.
Speaking of alien and all. So most of you know, but I'm a galactic ambassador. So I do a lot of work with the ETs and Commander Ashtar Sheeran and all of them, the Galactic Federation. So travel size.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's that was one of my little purchases this weekend. So for those of you that know, so I went on a crystal
extravaganza.
What do I want to say? I went crystal supply run, we'll say, this weekend, and so we got a bunch of new stock, which is always exciting. And yeah, so it was a fun weekend, but a lot of energy
Mhm.
in the crystal shows.
Nice.
So yeah, but fun weekend. It was a fun weekend.
Yeah, I know.
Mhm.
That's what I said, Gerald. I was like, I want to go.
Yeah, it was a crystal spree, absolutely. So
Mhm.
Gerald's saying supply run.
Mhm.
Yep, crystal show. It's a crystal spree. It really is.
Mhm.
I got another friend. I need to work with her a little bit more. But Bonita. That's what she told me her name is. It's a crystal skull, and it is out of rose quartz. The story behind crystal skulls is that in the Atlantean times, they created crystal skulls and they filled them and so they programmed them with all of the ancient knowledge. And then they gave them each to various parties, and they went out to all the corners of the earth with these crystal skulls full of information. And so, when you have one like this, it basically you can tap into the ancient knowledge that has been put into the collective and into the earth. So, Benita told me she's going to be working with me for the love aspect, bringing love onto the earth, and so we're going to work together for that. So there's Benita. That's one of her. I don't know why she chose Bonita. I think it might be from where she's from. So I'm not sure, but she chose it. I didn't.
Beautiful. Bonita. Beautiful.
Yes.
Mhm.
So that was one of my little crystal. I always get a couple for me because, I
Mhm.
do all the work. So, and they yell at me. They yell at me right across the room. The crystals, they're like, come and see me. So I have to go and find them. So that was my weekend. It was fun.
Mhm. Good.
Ah, hello. Just jumping in to say hello. Where are we here? I missed that one. There it is.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, Betsy. Yeah. Have a nice evening.
Mhm.
I think it is. Yes. Sounds like a galactic
Mhm.
ambassador type of crystal skull. Yeah, I think so. All about love, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Do you feel bonita? TikTok. I honestly love the name though. Oh, is that a TikTok term? I'm on TikTok, but I'm not like, in the lingo. So yeah, I don't know.
I okay. I don't do TikTok. I'm not on it, so I don't know, but I'm sure there's something fun behind that.
Bonita. Pretty.
Yes, pretty. Mhm.
Definitely. Thank you.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yes, it's a TikTok thing. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do I feel pretty? Yes.
I feel pretty. That's another song. Never mind.
It is a song. Yes.
Here we go.
We're going to just go off into songs this week.
Right. Are we doing a
So,
card today? We're already halfway through.
well, sometimes we come on and do a card. Other times it's, yeah, it just depends. It's one of those days, guys. I'm sorry. Okay, so our usual gig, Soul's Journey, James Van Prague, and we pick a card.
Yes.
Let's see what comes up. There's one that matches my shirt.
Did that just jump out of the deck? It
was on the bottom when I picked it up. And it said changed, and I was like, oh, wow, we're in for change. Anyway, we'll see what comes out. I am obviously not alone. I just got a whole bunch of goosebumps. So we've got company coming in, which is awesome. We'll see what they have to say on both sides. Fascinating. Any idea who's here, John? This one. Ah, friendship.
Aww.
Friendship.
Nice.
Beautiful. I understand that a friend is in my life for a reason. That is the card today. And this one sort of clashes with my shirt, but well, actually, no, there's pink in my shirt, so it's not too bad. So friendship.
It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about friendship.
Yeah.
What does friendship mean to all of you? How do you know when someone's a friend versus an acquaintance? There's a good question. How do we know when someone's a friend versus an acquaintance? Good friendships are so precious. Yes, they are.
Yeah, they are.
Indeed.
Yeah, they are. Mm-hmm. You know, it's interesting, right? Like we talk about different ideas around friendship, right? And some people, you know, it's like, oh, well, you know, I have so many friends, and, you know, and some people like love that. And then other people, it's like, I have, you know, one or two good friends, and that's good, right? And so I think that, you know, even though there are a lot of universal aspects to friendship, there's also some very, you know, personalized aspects to friendship.
Absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we've got a couple of great comments here. So one from Ming. They don't have an agenda. Exactly. Right? They're there. They just love you for you.
Mm-hmm.
They care for your soul, not just your outsides. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Not just the meat suit, we'll say.
Mm-hmm.
When I have a desire to share deeper things about me, what I'm thinking about, and how I'm feeling. Yes, beautiful. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And one who's there through thick and thin, gives you the truth no matter what. Mm-hmm. Yeah. For sure. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think too that, you know, the people, we all go through times where we kind of withdraw a little bit, you know, because we're busy or because we've got energy and, you know, your hermit mode, that kind of thing. And I think, you know, the friends that don't judge you for that, they just like, how you doing? I haven't heard from you in a while. Are you okay? Other than, I haven't heard from you for a while. What's going on? And it's all about them, right? Because they haven't heard from you for a while. But, you know, when they're coming at it from like, hey, are you okay? Yeah. You know, it shows they care for me. So that's, you know, and I used to, I remember, so before I started my spiritual journey, I was in my, I still have insecure moments. Don't get me wrong, but this was definitely something that was a big thing before, right? So I would, if somebody didn't respond right away, I'd be like, oh my God. And it was all like, oh my God, they don't like me anymore. What's going on? Right? What did I do? What did I do? And, you know, you start to realize that it's not really that people are not responding or that it's nothing you did. It's really they're like in their own stuff. They're mired in their own, and they don't have the capacity to reach out to people. So, you know, that's something that it was a great lesson, right?
I actually just had a conversation about this with a client earlier today, just in, you know, reflecting too on how times have changed, right? Like there was a time when I was growing up, I'll date myself a little bit here, where there weren't even answering machines.
Yeah.
You called somebody on a landline at their house, and if they weren't home, you called back later.
Exactly.
That was it.
Exactly.
Right? There was none of this, you know, expecting people to be at your beck and call and expecting immediate gratification in response and having people being, you know, tied to their devices. And it's a very different world that we're in now, right? And so I think when, you know, to what you're talking about with friendship is, you know, with friendship, we give each other grace.
Yeah.
It's okay. Right?
Yeah. And don't assume that it's a negative.
Yeah.
Don't jump to that assumption because likely has nothing to do with you, and it's likely not a negative for you. And it, so doing that, grace and understanding and forgiveness when people screw up, because we're all human. Not that you want people walking all over you. There is that line that you have to have a boundary around. It's not that you're not going to be like, anybody can do whatever and I'm going to just understand. That's not what I'm getting at, right? So we have another
Well, and I mean, to Gerald's comment, right? A friend is someone who shows up, like, even if I know somebody who, like, we don't respond all of the time to each other just because life is crazy. But in that moment, if we needed each other, boom, we're there. It's all good. I will make it work. You will make it work. Right?
Exactly.
And that's a very different thing than having to always be there all the time for somebody.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Which goes to Shauna's comment.
Exactly.
Time can pass, life can happen, and things can stay the same. Yeah.
Yeah. Those are good friends, right?
That's
awesome.
Yeah. I have friends, I haven't seen in ages. And when we connect, pick it right back up again.
Yeah.
Right? And then we can go for a really long time again without connecting, and we know we're in each other's thoughts, and we know that we're sending love.
Exactly.
And it's okay.
And friends understand your boundaries. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, those people that get upset with you for not calling or whatever, we need to show understanding, right?
Yeah. Well, and I find too, when people respond, even if they respond in anger or frustration, it says a lot about what they're going through.
Right.
Right? It doesn't really say anything about what happened, because I could have the same situation happen with one person as with another, and their responses are completely different.
Yeah.
Right? And so, if somebody, gets aggressive or is mean or, calls you out for something.
Or snotty.
Or snotty or whatever, right? It says a lot about what they're going through and the narratives that they have going on in their mind. And so, I think too, with a friend, if I had somebody do that once or twice, right? I'd be like, yeah, what's going on? Are you okay? Sounds like something's off, right? And if they want to be mean or they don't want to talk about it, that's their prerogative, right? Versus somebody who always puts it on you and is always making you feel like the bad guy. That's probably not really a friend.
Not really the ones you want to hang out with forever, right?
Yeah.
And that's the other thing to talk about friends. So, there's different types of friends. There are friends that come in and it's like an intense friendship right away, and they're there for a reason, and then all of a sudden they're gone. That's like the friends for a season. It doesn't mean they weren't friends.
A season in a lifetime.
Exactly. So sometimes it's a reason, right? Sometimes you're working on a project with somebody. You get thrown together for this project and you work on the project and you become friends and you do all of the, like what Gerald was saying, you feel like you want to be, you can open up to them and it's really great friendship. And then the project's finished and you walk away and you're like, yeah, we'll keep in touch. And then we don't, it doesn't make that less valuable as a friendship either, right? It just means that it had that reason that you both got each other through this huge thing. And now you're moving on to your other lives, right? And then the season, sometimes people are in our lives for a short time or for even a little bit of a longer time, but they're not a time friend. And that's okay too. Right? And then there's the ones that are around forever or for many lifetimes. Right, Jen?
Oh yeah. Many, many lifetimes.
We've had a lot of lifetimes.
It's interesting too, like as you were talking about, the reason, season, and lifetime. I'm thinking about the lines for the profile in human design, because depending on the lines that we have, that also impacts our connections, right? Where like 2s like to be on their own and they need to be pulled out, right? And they will be pulled out for a time and then they go back on their own. 3s, we make and break bonds, We're here for a while, then we're gone for a while, then we're here for a while, then we're gone for a while. And it's a very normal, natural part of the process, right? Fives are constantly dealing with projections being put on them, so they need time away to be able to navigate that, right? And then, you know, to be able to put themselves back out there. And like, so we all have different ways of dealing with things, of regenerating how we're feeling, bringing that energy back. Some are introverted, some are extroverted, you know. And I think the big piece is allowing them to be who they are, right? Like, what is a true friend? Somebody who lets you be you.
Exactly. Someone that you can feel safe with, no matter what happens. You know that they're there for you and they have your back, right? And Gerald says, that's so true. Don't discount the experience because it hasn't gone on forever. Because a moment can change your life. So even a moment with somebody, because they can activate stuff within you, right? And this kind of leads into Ming's question about how does it feel when you meet a friend that you may have known for lifetimes. So sometimes we get activated, and it's you pass somebody on the street and you lock eyes with them, and you just feel like you've known them forever, even though you've never even spoken, and they pass by and you never see them again. That could be a soulmate, right? That could be a soul family member. That's their contract with you this time was to cross paths with you and activate a master key or an ability or something, right, within us, or to change your trajectory. Sometimes they're people that are, yes, like Annie says, sometimes they're people that are sent by the guides. Okay, so they could be sent, like you're going off this way and someone comes in, the guides send you someone that says something to you and you're like, oh, I hadn't thought about that, and all of a sudden you're going to turn right instead of left because that's where you're meant to be. Right. So it could be as simple as that. So for yes, exactly. For me, I've known you for barely a month and it feels like I've known you much longer. Yes. So those are those soul contract people that we've known each other before in other lifetimes. So that's kind of what it feels like. It's like you meet somebody and you're like, oh, hello again. And not sure why, because you've never really met them in this life, but you're like, oh, hello again. I remember having those encounters with people before I started my spiritual journey too, and I found it so weird because I was like so drawn to them, and like, why am I so drawn to, not drawn, attracted, just drawn as in I need to talk to them,
Yeah, you feel that connection on a deeper level. It's like an energetic pull.
Exactly.
And sometimes it's people that we have a karmic relationship with that we have to work through something with, right? And we might even feel that energy. Right. And so there's a lot of components to what pulls us into somebody.
Indeed. Hello, Vivienne. Thank you for joining us. It's great to see you.
It's interesting too, as we're talking about that and that bumping into, what was coming to mind for me was, again, in human design, they talk about the fractals, right? So we talk about like the crystalline grid and the fractals, right? And how we're each on specific fractals. And it's interesting when we think about like the people that we're meant to have in our lives, we're going to have in our lives because they're on the same fractal as us. We're meant to intersect with them at some point along the way. And, how many times have we tried or to force ourselves to be with somebody who we were not supposed to be with? Right. And what that does, and then the impact that has on our experience. And it's, again, no good, no bad. It's just noticing those different experiences and the impact they have on us can really help us to see, where something feels like, okay, yeah, this is a natural fit, even if it is just for a short time.
Exactly.
Right. And then we allow it to become whatever it's going to become.
Let go and flow, like we've been saying. Right. So, yeah. So I think that I hope that answers your question, Ming, I think, for Jen and I, it was like we'd known each other forever. We saw each other, we started talking, and we're like, and that was definitely a hello again kind of, and we're friends in this lifetime. We've had all sorts of other relationships in other lifetimes, and so when you just feel like you just know them, like I didn't feel like I needed to ask you a whole lot of questions when we met, because I just felt like I knew you already. So that was kind of how
there is for soul family and stuff like that, there is a coming home feeling.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, okay, yeah, we're good.
Yeah. All right. Should we talk about our trip to IKEA?
I don't know about that.
Our first coffee date was in IKEA because she had young kids at the time. And so I won't go into a lot of detail.
So they could go play in the IKEA little play place when it was, I don't know if it's still there or not. My kids are old now. They don't play. Yeah.
we don't hang out in the IKEA place.
We don't hang out in IKEA. Although I need to go to IKEA.
I still go to IKEA. I just don't, hang out at all that much. Yeah. And we ended up like talking about our past and talking about all the stuff that we do. And we ended up doing energy work right there and then. And so we knew that it was, we were just meant to work together and do stuff together. So, yes, exactly. It's funny that sometimes you meet people for the first time in the conversation and mentioning things I would not know. Yeah. Well, that's because you're psychic too. But
that
we're definitely
adds a whole other layer.
That does add a whole other layer. But yeah, when you just know, I do think that we're more psychically connected to those people that are in our soul family and stuff too, right? So, or people that we've known in other lifetimes, we have that sort of soul connection. So there's like this, it's almost like the etheric cords, that go between us. And so that's stronger, I think. The more that you go through lifetimes together, the more that sort of builds and becomes a thing. So I think that's probably what happens for you, Gerald, is that you meet somebody and you've had all these lifetimes, and the info just comes without even trying because of this huge etheric cord that kind of connects you. And that coming home feeling sometimes is that feeling when you meet somebody. It's just like that heart opening, and you just feel good when you're with them. And it doesn't need to be romantic. I mean, it happens with romantic relationships sometimes, but it doesn't need to be necessarily a romantic relationship for you to have that.
No.
So.
Well, and I'm thinking about even like the actual first time we met was at the
networking thing. Yeah.
The networking thing. Right. And it was one of those things where, Tanis is a mingler. And I am like, I would sit in a tiny little space and be perfectly content, just kind of watching everything go by. And we went into this one room and we just sat there, and people came in and talked to us and came and went and everything else. And I was like, yeah, I'm good. Right. I didn't need to run away or anything.
I'm glad you didn't run away, Jen.
But, because I have, with tons of people, it's sometimes too much, right? Like for me, I'm not good with, spreading focus, projector energy here, right? I like to have one person to at least, ground with. Like, I'm good. Yes. You're good. I'm good. Okay, we're good. Now I can deal with other stuff. But it's, the moment that we met, it was very clear that we knew each other.
It was, yeah. Yes. Sorry, I'm laughing at
You're reading the comments.
I am. That's my job, I'm moderating and all. So he says I'm psychic. When did that happen? Probably when you were born. You might.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. That is what it is. It's just it's a knowing. It's a feeling comfortable right away. We go into, when we meet new people, we we know they're going to be friends when we're comfortable right away, right? Just like when Annie says, there's people that we're friends with. And it's also a resonance.
Yeah.
Right? And so if we talk about the energy behind it, when you're a similar resonance or a similar vibration, it's comfortable. When you're not a similar vibration to somebody, it's not as comfortable. It feels not quite right, right? Just off. And it's more difficult to kind of connect in the same way that you would with somebody who's a soul friend. Yeah. And I just think for me, I was so grateful because as I moved into this like spiritual journey, it was like all my soul family started to come into my life, and I could feel them every time they came in. So I've had a lot of this experience with this, and it's just this deep connection. And anyway, I'm very blessed to have all of my soul family that's in my life, and all of the ones to come, as well as the ones that are no longer in my life, for whatever reason. I just friendships are really important to me, and feeling safe in a friendship and feeling good about connections and that kind of thing. I think that's all really important. It is for all of us. We're all human, and it is like an innate need for us to feel that connection.
Yeah. And a beautiful thing about friendship, like true deep friendship too, is this, you can be vulnerable, right? It's that safe space to, allow yourself to open up and allow yourself to feel your feels and allow yourself to,
you can messy cry in front of them and they don't judge you.
Yeah.
Yes. Friends are the family you get to choose. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting, even like, because of our own stuff, right? The insecurities and all that stuff that comes into play and all of that. I think sometimes we get very caught up in, whatever is going on, like our fear of loss or rejection or, worrying about those kinds of things. And, I think that, a friend would try to understand those components and where you're coming from, right? And I think sometimes we have these like expectations, right? The friendship's supposed to be this way or that, a friend is supposed to, be this or that, and kind of going back to the original part of our conversation, but also just, allowing somebody to have their process and just hold space, right?
Definitely. Friends are those people that time seems to stand still when you're with them. How is it possible 44 minutes have passed since this live started? You're awesome, Gerald. Absolutely.
Well, and that's
Thank
it.
you.
Like this time with all of you and just having these conversations, it's like magical. I never understand how time has gone so quickly.
Every time we get off of these, Jen's like, how did that go by so fast? Yeah. Pogo, pogo.
Yeah.
She agrees. So true. Yeah. Time, time passes, flies when you're having fun, right? That time flies when you're having fun. Having trouble with the mouth.
Time.
Time. Time is a human concept. I get told that all the time when I'm working with the guides. They're like, yeah, time's a human concept. I don't know. I'm like, okay, but I do have to go for this meeting. All right. There's those kind of friends too. for friendships. When you work with your guides regularly, you become friends with them.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And you can tell the ones you're, because you do get a similar thing, right? You get that heart opening or that connection, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And one friendship that we didn't really talk about, but that is absolutely vital,
Mm-hmm.
friendship with ourselves.
Yes. Mm-hmm. How many times do we treat ourselves not like a friend? Right?
Mm-hmm.
We're self-deprecating, or I've actually said to friends, they say some comment about themselves and I'll be like, don't talk about my friend that way. And they look at me like, what?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, because we don't talk to ourselves the way we would talk to a beautiful friend, right?
Yeah.
We don't necessarily have that relationship with ourselves. And that's programming, and it's all sorts of things. It's how we grew up. It's all of those things. And that's part of the journey of getting to know yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Are you counting your friends? She says, I don't have enough fingers.
Toes count too, okay? And if
Yeah,
it really
toes count
is
too.
problematic, you can just go by knuckle.
Or you could do crystals. Count them by crystals.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm a little crystal giddy today. I was around so many crystals.
That's okay.
One train of thought today.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah, I also treat crystals as friends. They are.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Bonita, my new friend.
Yeah. But I think it is important to notice, especially when we're not being a friend to ourselves.
Yeah.
Right. And, we talk about like all of these different kind of things that we end up doing in order to get people to like us. Right. So we get into like
People
codependency
pleaser.
stuff, people pleasing, all of those kinds of things. Right. And we look at it and we go, okay, why am I going there? What's going on for me that is making me go there, right? And a lot of the time it's because we're worried about that connection more than we are concerned with the friendship that we have with ourselves.
Yeah, it's true.
Mm-hmm.
A big hello to Kylie from Australia.
Hello, hello.
Hey, thank you for joining us.
Mm-hmm.
And Gerald said, I've said that to people. What would you say to someone who's treating your friend the way you're treating yourself?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes, it's not exactly, we don't treat ourselves the way we would treat a friend.
Mm-mm.
And it's okay. It's just something to be aware of. It's something to work towards.
Yeah, most definitely. Again, and we talk about this all the time, and I talk about it with clients all of the time, but the very first step is just observe it, right? Just be aware of what's happening, right? But if you do something and you mess up and your immediate response is, ugh, you idiot. Notice
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
right? Oh, there's that narrative again. That's not really nice. Okay.
Right? Next time I'm going to do better.
Yeah. We're all a work in progress, Annie.
Yeah. And he says, I try to catch myself, work in progress or process.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. We all are.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are. If you're human, you are a work in process.
Yeah.
Right? That is what we were here for.
Yeah.
We are beautiful works of art in the process of creating ourselves and who we are, or getting to know ourselves and who we are.
Yeah. And allowing ourselves to change.
And evolve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think allowing ourselves to do that is an important term, really, right? And allowing friendships to evolve, because friendships evolve too.
Yeah.
The one with ourselves as well as our friendships with others. Sometimes they evolve into a deeper, not. And that's how we know that there were ones for a season, right? Not necessarily forever. And that's okay too.
Yeah.
It's really our insecurities, I think, that create the angst when friendships end. You know, it's all about that fear of rejection or fear of abandonment. And
yeah, and it's tough, right? Like we live in a temporal world. Nothing is permanent here, and it's not supposed to be.
And yet we all strive
and
for continuity. Yes.
Right. And so the more we're able to, accept, I've talked about this before, but like this idea of, loving without attachment, it's very, very hard, right? Because we attach ourselves to things
And people.
To people, to experiences, to so much of our reality. And yet, if nothing is consistent but change, when we attach to these different things, it's really hard when change happens, right? And then I have people say, well, how can I love if I'm not attached to it, right? And this is all part of the work, because we can deeply and truly love something and allow it to be whatever it is. And that love is even deeper than the love of, I want it to be what I want it to be.
Right. Yeah.
Not easy.
No. That's one of those progress things. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And we all have to work on our relationship with relationships. Right. And with ourselves and with others, and in general. And so being able to really take the time to navigate our narrative around friendships and things like that, and how we define them, can be a really important piece, right? And so but I always come back to, are you a friend to you?
Yeah.
Right. People who say, I have a hard time making connections. I have a hard time, really, maintaining friendships, things like that. One of the first things I'll say is, how's your relationship with you? Well, all right. That's where we got to start, right? Because if we don't hold space for that, then we're, again, we were talking about earlier, right? Like what we perceive and is what we end up looking for, which is what we end up finding in our experience, right? And it's going to be the same thing with our friendships.
Yeah, and that's where that judgment thing comes in, right?
Yeah.
So we try not to judge ourselves in those particular cases. So, well, this brings us.
We're at time.
I know. How did that happen? Because we're all friends here, right? So, sorry, download. So they're putting it out there for you to tell 3 of your friends how much you love them today. So whether it's you send them a quick text, whether it's that you reach out on the phone, whatever it is, the guides are saying, we invite you to tell 3 people, 3 friends, that you love them today. So let's spread the love today.
Mhm.
And do you want to share about our projects that are coming up, Jen? We have Know Thyself.
Oh yeah, we've got the Know Thyself. That's starting on the 27th, isn't it? That's coming up. That's like a table d'eau. It's like a tasting platter of all kinds of different things to get to know yourself. So we've got a little bit of human design, a little bit of the Enneagram calendar, a little bit of some vision boarding. We're going to look at the chakras. We're going to do a bit of, oh my gosh, what else are we doing?
A little bit of yoga. We're doing some intuitive drawing.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of a whole bunch of stuff just to kind of get the flavor flav out there. And sampler plate. You got
sampler
it.
Plate, exactly.
And then you get to kind of feel into all of these different things, right? Because part of the thing with Twillow and Tanis is Tanis has an amazing spread of different things that you can do. And sometimes it's hard to figure out what you want to do, right? And because they all seem so awesome, right? And
well, I think I'm super blessed because we have such a great team. And the whole team of teachers and healers that we have, they all have their beautiful specialties, right? So when we blend them together into specific programs, it's like amazing. It's like magic.
Well,
and so
that's it. So that's what this one, I know, me too. It's like, so that's what this is. It's like a little bit of a bunch of different things.
Thank you.
So that you can get a feel for them, right? See what resonates, see what you want to explore more. Do I want to deep dive into my human design? Do I really want to jump into the Mayan stuff and see what that looks like? Do I want to go down, the shamanic path? Like, what do I want to do? What feels correct for me in my journey at this time? Right? And so this is kind of a way of feeling into all of these different things, learning about yourself through all of them.
Absolutely, because we're all different aspects.
There's going to be a ton of information, more than you're going to be able to take in the 9 weeks. And we get that. And so we're obviously still we're here. We can help guide as we can. But it's really about your journey into understanding, accepting, loving you. Right. So what a great theme tonight for that, right? This, friendship and really, becoming and befriending yourself through deeper understanding.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the other one that we've got going on, another 9-week, is the channeling spiritual communication class. So, yes, learn about self instead of being told.
Round of applause for that one.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And the channeling course is really rich as well in terms of that too, because it's, if you're at all interested in starting to work with your guides and all of that stuff, channeling spiritual communication class, we are going through, we're going to go to the 12 dimensions, right? We're going to tap in and see what it's like, get a feel for each of them and start to learn who your guides are, what guides are you working with. And you'll learn a whole lot about it yourself on that journey as well. So we've got some great summer programs. Those are the summer programs that we're working on. And thank you, Annie. Thanks for joining us. And, there's also the membership area. So if you want to be part of our gang, our group, our community, we do have a community membership as well. So you can find all of that stuff up on twillowlifestyle.ca. And we're also here, of course, every Monday. Every Wednesday, I'm on with Michelle. Actually, we won't be here next week. Oh, no, we will be here next week. It's Wednesday. I will be off.
I'm like, this is news.
Yes, no day's good. I'm actually going to take a few days vacation. So over the summer. So we're going to do that next week's vacation. So I won't be on Wednesdays. So Wednesday is the one with Michelle. And she knows this. It is, we do readings on Michelle's show at 7:00 Eastern. And every second week, we have open mic with another one of our teachers. So Michelle's a teacher as well. So we have open mic with Ramsey Cheedy. and that's every second Friday at 7. So we've got lots of stuff happening. Yeah, so many opportunities to see me. Yeah, you guys are all going to be sick of seeing me.
If I'm correct, there's also an opportunity to see you upcoming with Gerald.
Yes.
On his show.
Absolutely. So that is 2 weeks from now, not next week, the week after.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. I thought it was the 17th.
Ooh, I better check that. It's coming.
But it might not be. It might have been a different date.
No, you are correct. It is Monday with Gerald. That's why Monday is good. I'm doing those 2 shows on Monday. So yes, so many opportunities because we're going to be next week. Good. Thank you. Thank you for keeping my schedule. You know this time thing? I was telling you I was having trouble with this time thing because it's a human concept. Yeah. Yes, that's the other reason why Monday is
It's just the projector's guiding the energy for you there, Janice.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I need guiding. Don't panic me, he says. No, it's all good. It's all good. I'm in. We're in for Monday. Next Monday with Gerald, and next Monday here. So Gerald is at 2 p.m. Eastern on Monday, and then we'll be here next Monday at 5. And exactly. Thank you.
We just need to make sure you show up. We're going another.
That's what friends do, you see? Friends keep friends on time. On schedule. Oh my goodness. So I also do, since we're talking about podcasts, yes, I'm on with, and then I also do a monthly podcast called Bridge to the Galaxy. And we come full circle, exactly. And I'll be doing some more work as well with Beyond Being Human, which is another network. So stay tuned for more of that. And I love you all. I'm sending you all tons of love for the week. Thank you all for joining us. Jen, did you want to say anything?
So much love. Yeah, it's wonderful, and I know I say it every time, but having you all here and sharing with us is an absolute blessing. And it is that, Gerald says, and we come full circle, and really this is such a circle of care, right, that we have here. And I'm so grateful for all of you being on with us. And until next time.
Thank you. We love you too. Awesome. So we'll see you again next week or sooner because, there's other stuff happening. Have an awesome week. Talk to you all soon, okay? Let me just find where I'm going with this. There we go. It's one of those days. Have an awesome week, everyone. Sending you lots of love.